Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Tony and this is TC's Outdoors. I thought today I would take a second here and show you guys how I sharpen my chainsaw. So if you're familiar with the channel, or even if you're not, I'm relatively new to cutting firewood. I've only been cutting firewood for probably 2 years now. This is my first real saw. I cut with a Echo CS590. I do have another saw. It's a Poland Wild thing, and it has been a pain in the rear, to say the least. So I don't use that saw very much. I have had it to my saw guy, a family member of ours that's really good with small engines, and he's got it running pretty good now. But I'm just so used to using the Echo that's just the direction I stay. So I'm running a 24-inch bar. It's full skip, full chisel chain. I have two different ways that I sharpen. So I have never hand filed. I'd like to get into hand filing. I think I'm going to buy a kit one of these days, and then I'll give it a shot and try to get good at it. I think it's a skill that I would like to acquire for sure. But for the short term, I bought the steel. It's a 2-in-1, and this thing is like a heaven sent because it makes somebody like me that doesn't really know what he's doing. I'm able to sharpen my chain, get it super sharp pretty quick, and I can take it with me when I'm like out in the woods, or if I'm out even just in the wood yard. I just throw it in my bin, and that way if I hit a rock or something, I can quick touch up the chain fast, and I'm back in business in no time. So I like this because it's got the raker gauges on it. The downside though is I'm kind of like aggressive sometimes, or not paying attention, and if I push down too hard, I can kind of flex up on the depth gauges, the guides for the depth gauge, I guess. So then the flat file kind of takes a little too much off of the raker, and it can get kind of aggressive. So I use this probably every third or so sharpening, and then in between that I use my Dremel tool with a you guys see that there, but that's just a 7/32. It's the Diamond. I got them off of Amazon. I'll throw a link in the description, but they're Diamond Dust or whatever, and it does a great job also. But if you use it too much, eventually you'll get to the point where the chain's not cutting because you get the tooth down below the depth gauge. And that's this is what I bought first, and I didn't realize that's what was happening. So I would sharpen the chain, I don't know, 10 or so times, and then all of a sudden I'd have a chain that just wouldn't cut, and I thought maybe I had the angle wrong or I was doing something wrong. And again, this is just me not knowing what I'm doing, learning as I go, as we all do. So then I realized that I had to take the depth gauges down in the chain. So that's when I bought the 2-in-1. But if I use the 2-in-1 every time, it seems that the rakers are down just a little too low for me. It gets a little too kicky, and I'm not that good at keeping the tip out of the tree or the log behind it, and I just would rather not run into any trouble. So I kind of switch on and off. That's pretty much how I do it. So the last 3 times or 2 times I've used the Dremel. So today I'm going to use the 2-in-1. So I'm going to get the saw on the vise, and then I'll try to get you guys so I get a decent angle on it, and we'll show you kind of how it goes. I mean, it's the 2-in-1 it's such an easy system, and I know there's some knockoffs out there. This is the actual steel brand, but it's got an arrow for the direction, and you just follow the angle. I mean, it pretty much, it couldn't get any easier as far as maintaining the good angle on the tooth, and you get a good file on it. The files that it comes with they're really aggressive. They do a good job. These are still the same files. I couldn't tell you how many times I've used it, to be honest, but quite a few for sure. So let's get the saw on the vise and we'll go from there. So first thing I do is I'll mark a tooth so that I know where I started, and that way once I get all the way around, I can turn the saw around and get to the other side. So like I said before, if you see that arrow right there, that's the direction that you want to push. You only want to file in the one direction if you've never done this before. So you file out, and then you just lift it a little bit and drag it back. You might hear it scuffing a little bit as I come back, but that's really not, I'm not filing, it's just scuffing its way back. So if you see kind of this guide sits on the chain, this guide sits back here on the tooth, and that's what sets my raker gauge or my depth gauge. That's what takes the flat file across the raker. So but I haven't done this in a while, so it should take some off. I don't know how to hold this to not be in the way, but I'll do 3 or 4 strokes guess we'll do 5. And then, yeah, you can see, let's see if, this is what the tooth looked like before. So this is the tooth just ahead of it. And if you look over here, this is the one I just filed. Come on, focus. There we go. So you see, you can't see because it won't focus. There we go. Alright, so it took the raker, or the depth gauge down, however, whatever you'd like to call that. We got a good sharp edge on the inside there, and there's a little burr on the top of the tooth. This is tough with my phone. So that's what that looks like, and it is like cat claw sharp. You definitely want to wear gloves if you're doing this, because you're going to cut yourself up pretty good if you don't. So, all right, so we're gonna stay at this and show you kind of how fast it goes. I'm gonna be in the way because that's the only way I know how to be. So that's the tooth I started with. I just roll it back. I know that, oops, there's some debate whether or not you have to do the same amount of strokes on every tooth. A lot of guys say it's most important. A lot of guys say it's not important. So I don't really. If I got a tooth that's kind of chewed up worse than the rest of them, I keep going on that tooth until I get the notch or the gouge out of it, or whatever I need to do to make sure that tooth is cutting well. Alright guys, there you have it, chain sharp. So I don't know, hopefully this helps you guys. I was looking for information like this when I was first starting out, so any of you guys that are just getting into cutting, I don't know, I think the only way to get good at it is just to do it, right? And you just gotta more practice. This thing does make life extremely simple for a guy like me that doesn't really know what he's doing just yet. But so if you enjoy this kind of stuff, please hit the like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and come back for the next video, because in the next video we're going to run this bad boy. We got to get bucking, got more firewood to make. So all right, until next time, get outdoors and do something you love.